thank you for the opportunity to share some of the work we're doing. My name is Sunyan Lisa Lee. I'm the Director of Customer Solutions at Hydro One. Today, I'm here to talk to you about Hydro One and how we're transforming our customer experience. For those of you who aren't familiar, Hydro One is a Canadian electricity transmission and distribution provider, the largest in the province of Ontario, designated as a sustainable electricity company by the Canadian Electricity Association. We serve 1.4 million customers, supported by 8,800 hardworking employees. We're publicly traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange and have about $27 billion in assets and annual revenues of approximately $6.5 billion. Those are 2019 figures. Since our new leadership team joined in 2018, we're more focused than ever on being customer-driven, sustainable, safe, and efficient. We're committing to taking a customer-focused approach to doing business, to listening better, and to act on customer concerns. After engaging with our customers, we heard that they want an unwavering commitment to excellent customer service, safety, efficiency, and sustainability. They want us to look out for future generations, and we're proud to deliver on this purpose and advocate for positive change. We heard that affordability is the #1 concern for our customers, primarily our residential customers. And with more customers at home and out of work, this is more true than ever before. We heard from the independent electricity system operator in Ontario that residential consumption has increased up to 14%. For that reason, for all these reasons, affordability is a priority for us. And we've taken a number of measures to help. We've returned over $5 million in security deposits for 4,000 eligible business customers, and we no longer collect security deposits for our residential customers. So far, we've achieved $250 million in productivity savings to keep power reliable and affordable, and there is more to come. When the pandemic began, we successfully advocated for relief from on-peak pricing and the choice to opt out of time-of-use pricing. We were the first utility in Ontario to offer pandemic relief fund and to halt disconnections altogether. When we engaged with customers, we also heard that we needed to be easier to do business with and that they wanted choice. In response, we updated our customer-facing digital assets. We upgraded our online customer account portal, our customer-facing outage map, and we introduced a mobile app. We're providing greater account flexibility for our customers, allowing them to choose their own payment due dates so they can balance their bills through the year. In any other industry, these changes would be considered long overdue. Some might say the utility sector is just catching up, and it's hard to disagree. Companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Netflix have set new service standards. Our customers' expectations have been transformed by data-driven, personalized algorithms. And our customers expect that all their service providers, including us, their utilities, provide that same level of service today. As their electricity service provider, customers expect us to have insights on their energy use and give advice based on those insights so they can make informed choices. And we want to meet that expectation. At Hydro One, last year, we considered how we could achieve that goal. We considered how we can deliver insights as trusted advisors on how to use electricity more efficiently and make it more affordable for customers. Now, when it comes to self-help, conservation and demand management is probably the best tool customers have in lowering their energy bill. And last year in the province of Ontario, funding for conservation and demand management programs, specifically for residential customers, was reduced substantially. And we wanted to continue to deliver CDM insights and advice to customers that could help them identify low-cost, no-cost energy-saving solutions. We wanted to help customers when it comes to solutions that could really impact their energy use and influence their buying decisions. We wanted to connect them with a network of service providers. We want to offer insights that lead to action. And we looked south of the border to see what our American counterparts were doing. And many of them were operating energy efficiency marketplaces. After some deliberation, we made the decision to offer one to our customers. And we could offer more than insights. We could help them take action using those insights by directly connecting them to solutions. There were a few considerations that informed our decision-making process for us. We have a perpetual desire to drive more value for customers, and affordability is a main driver of customer satisfaction. The reduction of residential CDM funding and supports for the average household left a funding vacuum in our minds. And as a regulated entity with significant cost pressures, we needed a platform that was in itself affordable and self-funding. Now, after meeting with a few marketplace providers, we decided to partner with Bidgely because the Bidgely offering fit with our vision of the customer journey. It was data-driven, it was personalized, and it offered multiple opportunities for customer engagement. Bidgely didn't have an active marketplace, so it presented itself as the riskier option. But because it was nascent, we believed we could impact the shape of the Bidgely offering much more than we could impact a mature marketplace solution. And we could also better determine how it integrated into our digital environment. Currently, we're completing the design and planning phase of our project, so it's too early to share lessons or insights. But what I can tell you is that the customer journey is the focal point of our design and implementation decisions. And preserving customer trust is a non-negotiable tenet. We work in an industry that can be sometimes notoriously complex to understand for customers. Scanning the environment, there are a number of consultancies that offer as a paid service, helping customers understand their bill. We want this energy efficiency journey to be intuitive and easy to use. With this project, and in conjunction with others, we're taking the opportunity to reevaluate how we engage with our customers on their energy use. In a related project, we're looking at redesigning our bill, asking customers what information they want to see and how often. We'll be redesigning our interactions with the customer's perspective in mind. And we'll be testing how we can integrate Bidgely's bespoke solution to create a personalized journey. For Hydro One, the marketplace initiative is a relatively small one, measured in dollars, but it's strategically significant because it represents a shift in how we interact with our customers. We're moving beyond simply delivering electricity, which can be as impersonal and transactional as courier delivery. We're presenting ourselves as energy experts invested in our customers' success. And by improving our value proposition to customers through sharing information and our expertise, we will offer superior, empathetic service. We will be the trusted advisor that our customers expect us to be.
Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Colin Gibbs, Vice President of Strategy and Growth at Bidgely. I am coming to you today from Portland, Oregon, where it is finally raining. So if anybody has been following challenges that we've been having in terms of wildfires and the smoke that comes along with them, I am, for the first time in my 9 years living in Portland, extremely ecstatic to see rain. So good for us. Good morning, Lisa, or probably afternoon for you now. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. And I'm happy to hear about the rain in Oregon. You've had a tough go of it, I have to say.
Yeah, thank you very much. So just a few follow-up questions for you. I really appreciate the time that you spent to put that together for us. And, you know, very, I think, helpful for us to hear kind of what your philosophy is in standing up these types of solutions for customers. We talked to Hydro Ottawa a little bit a few days ago about this challenge of, you know, CDM budgets, you know, going away to some extent, if you will. And I appreciate the way that you sort of look at the customer value, but I'm curious if you could sort of elaborate a little bit on how exactly you make the business case, you know, to decision makers for a marketplace type solution, for example, or other customer engagement solutions in the absence of, you know, CDM funding.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. I think the business case really goes to customer value and being more customer centric. The benefits and the outcomes we see are really related to CSAT and ultimately driving the values that we know customers prioritize. And we know that because we've engaged with them extensively. Just recently, in fact, we went through, and we're still in the process of, a massive engagement related to our upcoming rate application. It's actually the biggest in the company's history that we'll be filing in 2021. Mm-hmm. So we've directly asked customers what they care about and what they prioritize. And affordability is number one. Affordability, and second to that, I think, is resiliency, depending on the customer segment. As I indicated in my presentation, I don't think there is a more powerful self-help step that the customer can make to reduce their energy bill beyond energy efficiency and demand management. So, this particular investment, driven by CSAT, driven by the desire to help customers make their bills more affordable, that's the benefit side of the equation, and I think that's an easy one for people to buy in. The cost, the fact that this is a self-funding, mm-hmm. at least in part self-funding initiative, is very helpful. Mm-hmm. So evidence, like real empirical evidence about customer priorities, and we in fact we got granular and looked at how energy efficiency improved the CSAT experience, how it drove affordability. So we've got the evidence there to support the benefits, and the costs. I mean, we're still mid-project. Remain to be seen,
Sure.
But I do think that it will stand on its. I think it stands up on its feet.
Yeah. So just to dig into one specific element of that, you mentioned the sort of self-funding part of that equation, and it was a strategic focus that we had. We had this, sort of working hypothesis, if you will, that if marketplace type solutions can in effect be subsidized for customers rather than by customers, then inevitably this is a model that should have a lot of value to energy providers around the globe. And yet I think the existence of our term here down in the US and demand side management, or CDM as it's referred to, up there, maybe has been a little bit of a barrier to recognizing that potential of funding solutions really through the market, so to speak. And so I'm just curious as to did that make the conversations easier at Hydro One?
I think it's a new perspective, and it's one that we're undergoing. Like, Ontario's undergoing change, and the big question, I think, not just for Ontario but for jurisdictions across the board, is what is life after incentives for CDM? Yeah. Right? And can you actually incent the type of behavior that you want to see from a system perspective, from a customer perspective, through information or some other mechanism? So this is an experiment to see if we can do that. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to seeing how it turns out as well. I do think that, you mentioned examining what businesses in the States were up to. I think likewise, there's a high degree of interest from utility providers down here to see how businesses like yours respond to a bit of a new paradigm, without CDM budgets. You also mentioned, this is a question I've asked to several other panelists throughout the day, or the previous days, I should say, about, you alluded to the fact that other industries have sort of set expectations for customers around what a personalized experience might look like. And I've asked the question to others, we fall into this a little bit, maybe too frequently, where we say, well, the utility business model is perhaps behind maybe some of those other service industries, certainly the obvious ones like, entertainment and, things like Google and Netflix and Amazon and all those sort of like, hold at the top of the pyramid types of businesses in terms of their digital strategies, but also others like, finance and now healthcare, particularly as this year has changed sort of the way customers interact with service providers dramatically. So two-part question: was it useful for you when developing your strategy to examine other industries? And if so, were there any specific industries that felt analogous to the utility industry that kind of gave you some inspiration as to how you might change that customer strategy?
Absolutely. I think that natural utility or natural industries to turn to are telco and banking. And these are heavily regulated industries who underwent like a political regulatory fight, right, to be considered more than a monopoly service and to be able to diversify their offerings to customers. I don't know what it's like in other jurisdictions, but in Ontario, politically, historically, it's been, the relationship has been very prescriptive. And in Ontario, and I think in Canada, most of the utilities, the electric utilities, are government owned. Only in 2016 did Hydro One IPO, and we are partially government owned. So that the perception that it is still a government service is very strong. And it's a legacy that we face all the time. And there's benefits to that because we have natural customer trust as a result of that. But there are also, there can be limitations to that as well. But I think that as that commercial landscape changes and those predecessor industries like banking and telecommunications have sort of illuminated a path to what service can look like when you are a platform network critical infrastructure company. I hope and I trust that the customer perspective and the industry perspective will change over time as well. But the advent of new technologies, new types of service models will help accelerate that. It'll enable it. And we look forward to, going through those doors as they open and nudging them open a bit further.
Yeah, great answer. I have a question here from Andrew on the Bidgely team. The question is, within the context of digital transformation, are you also thinking about ways to bring customers who are less digitally engaged into Hydro One's new solutions and marketplace in particular?
Yes, we are. I think, in fact, in the past few years, we've really been trying to push people to like e-bills, and we've had great success in that regard. The uptake previously wasn't so high, and our particular service territory, the demographic tends to be a bit older because we do service rural Ontario and remote areas as well as urban areas. But the conversion is happening. And I do believe that pandemic, with things closing down and people being pushed to digital platforms, will increase adoption. Mm-hmm. But we want that experience to be smooth. We want it to be simple and intuitive, as I'd indicated in our presentation, to maximize adoption. And I think there will be a mix of conventional marketing techniques, which would include mail-outs and newsletters, to help recruit people into the new journey that we're trying to create for them.
Yeah, we have, I think, challenges at times, with utilities around, the U.S. and ensuring that there's equitable treatment, if you will, of customers who are highly digitally engaged and, in many cases live in areas with, good internet connectivity and things like that. Yes. But at the same time, ensure that there's that same level of service to the greatest extent possible to customers who live in a more rural environment or perhaps prefer different channels. So sort of an ongoing balance, I think, that, many utility businesses, work through. One last question here for you. It's the obligatory 2020 question, I suppose. How in your overall sort of customer strategy and your digital strategy in particular has COVID sort of impacted it, sped it up, changed your strategies, altered your communication in any way with customers? It's just, I think it's been a good way to have conversations to see how different businesses are responding to, maybe a different level of anxiety and challenge for customers right now.
That's a great question, and I wish I had thought about it and prepared a wonderful, deep answer for you. But I can tell you, we've really been in scrambling, solutioning mode, just trying to help customers who are struggling. The digital tools have been fantastic in terms of outreach, and certainly what it has impacted is, digitally anyway, is our planning and journey mapping. And, to the question that you had asked earlier, how can we engage more people in these digital platforms and become relational with them through those digital platforms in a way that we couldn't before? They feel less isolated. They feel more supported in their journey. So we've really been focused on economic relief, keeping the lights on for customers. and then planning for a different type of engagement strategy for 2020 that I hope we'll start to see fruition in 2021. But it's been a wacky year.
To say the least. Yes. Well, thank you very much. Again, appreciate the time that you spent in advance to put together a great speech or presentation rather, and certainly for spending some time with me today. Stay safe and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for the opportunity to share. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great to have you.